This is an example of a PLSQL procedure on the emp table. And the main purpose of this procedure is to demonstrate in parameters and an audit or a log table and how it may be used to record what's happened during the procedure execution. So the question in this scenario, it says, is to write an application that allowed the user executing it to specify a salary range at runtime and to display the total amount spent on employee salaries, the total amount spent on employee salaries in the salary range specified by the user at execution time, and then in part C, to record the name of the Oracle user, the date of execution, and the low and high salary band values in a table called empsal_log. So we're going to just run through the procedure first of all, and compile it, create it, etc., and then discuss the details of how it works. So the first thing we'll do is clear the screen. As you can see, this clutter here on the screen on the other side. So I'm going to just run the set server output command and the clear screen command to get a clear screen. And in this exercise, we're going to need to build a table called empsal audit log, empsal log rather. And it's important to build the table before you try to compile the procedure. So that's why the drop table and the create table command to build this table appear on in the exercise before the procedure is created. Now, in other words, the table needs to be created before the table needs to be created before the procedure is created. So I've now created the table, and if you briefly look down to the last line before the end command, you'll see there's an insert into the empsal log table. And that insert command, when Oracle is compiling that in the compilation of the procedure, it needs to be able to find that the table is already there. So therefore the creating the table is critically important in advance of the compilation of the procedure. So in this case, I'm just going to make a mistake again in my procedure. I'm going to leave out the word values in my insert statement, and see, does Oracle spot that? So I'm going to go and now create my procedure and get the show error message. So it does. It tells me the word values has been left out on line 21, position 59. Now again, the 59 may not be entirely accurate, but on line 21 is definitely correct. So it doesn't like line 21. So we'll go back and put the word values into our procedure. And there it goes back in, and we'll try and compile the procedure again. So I probably should clear the screen, but I'll just let it run. So the procedure has been created and there are no errors in it. So now the next thing to do is to execute the procedure. And as you can see, as well as the execute command here, I have a select command, a select star from the emp log table. So if this procedure does its work properly, a record will be added to the emp log table during the procedure execution. So we'll just see, has that happened? So it has. Okay, so what it tells us here is that we've put in two parameters, 1000 and 3000 in the execute command. It tells us the total amount spent on employee salaries is 31,875. The total salaries for the band specified is 25,125. And then it tells me that when I query the empsal log table, that the Oracle user I'm logged in as is called demo build, that the date of execution is the 4th of January 2019, and it records the low and high sal values that I mentioned earlier on. So now the details of all of this are as follows. Before the procedure can be created, and in order for the whole thing to work, I must create this table called empsal log. So if you look at the empsal log, you'll notice it has 4 columns called Oracle user, exec date, low salary, and high salary. So what I'm doing is I'm giving the column names that are clear and helpful, but they aren't exactly the same names as other elements of the program. So here I have my in parameter is called sal low, but I call the column that was going to store that value low salary. So they match up, but they're not identical names, so that doesn't hopefully cause any confusion. So anyway, the Oracle user is a varchar column, and it's 10 in size, because if you think of an Oracle username such as student 100, student 100 has 10 characters in it. The exec date is obviously going to be a date. Low salary is going to be a number, and it's going to be 5, because in the imp table the biggest salary is 5 in size, 5 characters in size. and high salary is going to also be a number, and it's going to be 5. So back to the main procedure between create and end, and you see the two end parameters, low sal and high sal low and sal high. The two variables are declared for v sum sal and v sum sal for the band. That's for part A and part B. And then two select statements retrieve the sum of sal for everybody in the first select statement. That's the entire salary bill. And as you can see, when that's printed out on the other side of the screen, that comes out as 31875. So that's the dbms output command that generates that. And then I have a line of asterisks to break up the output, followed by the second select statement, which confines itself to the salaries that fall into the band between 1,000 and 3,000. And again, the dbms output command below that proves it's working, and it displays the value of the variable v sum sal band. And lastly, I have the insert statement. So the insert statement really is the important part of this procedure. And the insert statement, you'll notice, has 4 values in it. It has user, it has sysstate. Now, user and sysstate are both Oracle reserved words. So they don't have to be declared, they don't have to be mentioned anywhere. Oracle understands that the word user means the user who's logged into the Oracle account that you're logged into. And that's obviously going to be student 1 or student 10 or student 100. In my case, the username I'm logged in is called demo build. The sysdate is the current system date. So that's another reserved word. So if you look at the create table statement again, the first 2 columns in the create table statement are for Oracle user and exec date. So user and sysdate fall into those 2 slots. That's where they end up. And then we have sal low and sal high are the other 2 elements of that insert statement. And they then match up with the 2 columns called low salary and high salary. So when the insert statement is executed, the table called imp sal log is expecting 4 values, and as you can see into the brackets here, there are the 4 values. So when we execute the procedure, pass in the 2 parameters with the execute command, that then gets the procedure working and it executes. And then when I query the imp sal log table, that also finishes off the exercise. Now what I could do here if I wanted to is I could roll back if I wanted to remove the row from the imp sal log table. But each time I run the procedure, I drop it, and I also drop the imp sal log table. So that automatically clears it out fresh each time, and I don't need to do the rollback command in this case. So I've now dropped the procedure and dropped the imp sal log procedure, or the imp sal log table rather. So that's the exercise. So as I said, this exercise, it has many aspects of PLSQL, but the important one here is the role of kind of a tracker table or an audit table, that when you execute a procedure or when someone executes a procedure, you may want some table in the background to capture details of who was it, when did it happen, and what did they do. So in this case, the user was demo build, the date was the 4th of January 2019, the low salary value is 1,000 and the high salary value is 3,000. So that's an instance of how to use a table to capture information while a procedure or a trigger or some other PLSQL application's execution. So that's the end of this particular example.